Yes, thank you, Monica, for this session. I think I'll be very quick. Patrice, and thank you for the presentation. What kind of research is needed to link production to consumer needs based on your experience? Thank you.
Merci, Steve. Oui, il s'agit de l'intérêt et des besoins du consommateur dans la transition d'un modèle agroalimentaire. La recherche ne peut que se faire sur la base de la demande. Et la demande, c'est le besoin des consommateurs. Et je pense que c'est l'une des voies de transition qui se dégage actuellement et qui est celle des systèmes alimentaires territorialisés. Et si nous parlons de cette territorialisation et ce modèle, c'est d'inviter la recherche à relocaliser et à repositionner son approche, et au moins partiellement par rapport à l'implication des politiques et par rapport aux besoins des utilisateurs, par rapport à la demande des communautés. La recherche doit pouvoir suivre le besoin final du consommateur pour positionner ces éléments de recherche. Par exemple, en Afrique de l'Ouest et dans nos pays, il y a des produits locaux, des produits, je suis dans le domaine de l'agroalimentaire, des produits agroalimentaires qui n'ont pas, qui sont des pratiques traditionnelles, qui sont des mets locaux et qui n'ont jamais été visités par la science et qui sont des pratiques de plusieurs dizaines d'années de nos parents. Mais il faut que la recherche visite ces pratiques-là et faire un diagnostic de fonctionnement de ces productions et apporte des solutions scientifiques qui garantissent aux consommateurs un produit, la consommation d'un produit de qualité ou la mise en vente d'un produit de qualité, afin que nos produits locaux au niveau Afrique puissent être positionnés dans des grands marchés ou même acceptés par les consommateurs avec joie. Avec joie, nous avons de très bons produits alimentaires.
Okay, thank you. Yes, thank you. A comment in the chat from Dr. Mizarak that the Belgian Co & Co microbreweries were very much interested in converting the Atsano soya milk brewery from you with the same industrial brewery unit for beer to adapt it to soya. So yeah, it's in the chat and there's a link to that. There are some comment. There's another comment in French. I'll ask someone to read it for me. Francois, we have 2 minutes left for you and Patrice. Do you have a question for him?
Yeah, actually, when you listened yesterday, high-level opening of the whole week, but also the presentation by Sadrak Mouefoli on the report which the Leap for FNSSA made on basically trying to screen the funding opportunities. What was revealed is again what was already discussed 10 years ago, which is, for instance, that the majority of funding goes to issues related to production or to diminishing loss, pests, diseases, etc. My question to you, Patrice, would be, is there not a need now to move to another stage whereby funding for processing and packaging food, especially based on African ingredients, would be the next approach? Because funding for processing what I would call the African food heritage is definitely needed and not enough. That is my question, Patrice. J'aurais dû le poser en français. Hein?
Okay. So Patrice, you have 1 minute to answer that question.
OK, merci beaucoup. Les besoins de la recherche sont énormes et beaucoup plus deviennent plus des exigences au niveau africain pour le secteur agro-industriel. Le secteur agro-industriel de chez nous est mal pensé, est mal perçu. Ils sont perçus comme des gens qui ont les moyens, qui savent déjà faire parce qu'ils ont des équipements ou des aliments, des produits alimentaires sortent. Ce n'est pas toujours vrai. C'est pas toujours vrai. C'est vrai, il y a des entreprises de haute technologie qui sont là et ce sont des délocalisations des entreprises de l'Europe vers notre pays, vers nos pays de l'Afrique. Mais aujourd'hui, le besoin est beaucoup plus important pour que la recherche au niveau international puisse se pencher sur les aspects technologiques des entreprises africaines. Il ne s'agit pas simplement que les produits africains puissent être convoyés en grande quantité vers les pays industrialisés de l'Europe, mais il faut que la recherche internationale puisse travailler à mettre en relation le partenariat Europe et l'Afrique sur l'amélioration et la mise à niveau des technologies de transformation pour garantir aux Africains un produit de qualité, un produit transformé de qualité et une consommation de produits de qualité, afin que ces produits transformés puissent aussi accéder au marché de l'Europe, puisque nous avons besoin d'apporter de la valeur ajoutée aux produits africains. Donc, le besoin existe, et le besoin existe au niveau de technologie, au niveau des normes, au niveau de processus et au niveau de mise à marché. Je parle de transport, je parle de la logistique. Le besoin de la recherche est là et le partenariat est souhaité pour les entreprises africaines, surtout celles qui sont dans l'agroalimentaire. Merci. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Patrice. I have an announcement, just a notice from the interpreters. If you are like me, that you were lost at the beginning, just look at the bar at the bottom of the screen. There is a global icon there. Click on it and choose your language so that if you are French or English, you'll go for the language that you prefer. Thank you very much, Patrice, for those exciting updates for us, for some of us who have been far away from PAEPARD. So we know this project is still going on, so PAEPARD is still alive. Now, let's move on to the next panelist, and it's Steve. Steve, you're welcome. You will just say something little about yourself, in case people have forgotten who you are. And then you share a little about your story as a president of the Farmers Federation. But also we want to learn from you what the most important benefits of PAEPARD were for the farmers organizations and the most difficult issues you addressed as a partner.
Yeah, so thank you. My name's Stephen Mushiri. I'm the Chief Executive Officer, Eastern Africa Farmers Federation, which is a regional organization comprising of national farmer federations and national cooperative alliances in 10 countries around Eastern Africa. We have members at small-scale farmers, and there are about 20 million of them. So very quickly, around the PAEPARD project, I think for us as a federation, we found many benefits, engaging in PAEPARD, and I'll list some of them. One of them is the issue of information asymmetry. You realize that information sources for opportunities for funding is actually very skewed. And for us as an association, we were not able to always identify, all the sources, find these opportunities and hence try to access them. So through PAEPARD, we were able to consolidate or were able to converge or have those sources converged to the extent that we're able to actually access them and take action. The second thing was capacity. which again was a challenge. You realize that a lot of these funding opportunities are very competitive, and some of them, require a certain level of capacity. And most times than not, we fell short of them. And during PAEPARD, one of the things that we did was to intervene around skilling or building skills to be able to, write proposals that are actually fundable or actually attractive. And this has been actually helpful for us as it has impacted our ability to do so then and even up to now. The other issue that was around partnerships. You realize again, a lot of these calls required that you have, partnerships either within Africa or across the continent. And sometimes it was a challenge to identify the right institutions, the right people, to know the capacities that these institutions actually had. And one of the things that we did in PAEPARD was to profile some of these institutions to understand what they do, identify some of the contact persons there, and hence this actually helped a lot in terms of forming consortiums around potential funding. And I can say that since then, we've been able to do between 7 and 10, such kind of consortiums, and we're actually grateful to PAEPARD. The other issue was around the target of calls. We realized that there was a bit of skewness in terms of how calls were targeting, or what they were targeting. For example, there are more calls on crops than, for example, livestock. And I remember one of the things that we did was to have a joint lobby to try and see whether we could actually have or influence, how these calls are designed, what kind of priorities they actually look out for. And I think in one way or another, directly or indirectly, we've been having some of these areas that are not usually funded getting some funding. We actually have in 2 projects, one on animal feed that is not a regular call, and another one on aflatoxin that we are working on and we're actually implementing and rolling out. So I think in short, in terms of benefits, I think there were many tangible as well as non-tangible benefits that we were able to benefit from the PAEPARD process. The partnerships that I mentioned were actually very significant. Those of you in the know, the PAEPARD had what you called an innovative fund, which we were able to actually target even smaller farm organizations competitively to be able to access these innovative funds. And I think the first presenter was actually a beneficiary of that. Of course, there's a lot of learning, especially on how development partners design and roll out projects, which I think for us was very instrumental. We're able to look at, for example, how the funding landscape has actually been mutating, from many bilaterals to very highly competitive projects, to consortiums, to private sector focus. So all these you're able to be in the know. Of course, I talked about capacity, and I think the most important is that PAEPARD is still, PAEPARD is a brand. We actually build a brand. And even as we speak, it's still very active and very alive. There are thousands of people still participating in it. I know even us as EFF, we even post some of the opportunities that we are looking for consultants on the PAEPARD platform. And I think it's been an honor to actually be part of this PAEPARD fund. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. I think you can clap for actually we forgot to clap for Patrice. You can clap for Patrice and for Stephen for putting together a package of their experience for us to benefit from. Now, before I forget, let me just pick some things from the chat. Remy Kaheni says there has been an impact assessment just at the end of the project. What is not the best to cover all kinds of impacts. The report is available. Yeah, so there is that impact report. You can get it. And then from Myra, this is an important question. As you have been in PAEPARD from 2007 to 10,